Most folks think they can learn everything about plumbing from a quick internet search. And honestly, I get it. There are millions of videos and articles out there promising to make you an expert in 10 minutes. But after 3 decades of crawling under houses, fixing what other people broke, and learning lessons the hard way, I can tell you there are things no website or video will ever fully teach you. Today, I am sharing 10 of those hard won lessons with you. Stick around for number 8, because that one alone has saved me from more disasters than I can count. And the bonus tip at the end is something most plumbers will never admit out loud. The first lesson I want to share with you is that water pressure tells a story before anything breaks. This is one of the biggest things experience teaches you that the internet never really explains well. Most homeowners do not think about their water pressure until something goes seriously wrong. A pipe bursts, a water heater fails, or a faucet starts screaming when you turn it on. But here is what 3 decades on the job taught me. Changes in water pressure are your plumbing system whispering to you. It is trying to tell you something before it starts shouting. If you notice that your shower does not hit quite as hard as it used to, or one faucet in the house seems weaker than the others, that is not just an annoyance. That is information. It could mean mineral buildup is slowly choking a supply line. It could mean a pressure regulator is starting to fail. It could even mean there is a small leak somewhere in a wall or under the slab that is quietly stealing pressure from the rest of the system. I always tell homeowners to pick up a simple hose bib pressure gauge. You can thread it right onto any outdoor spigot. Test your pressure a couple of times a year and write it down. Normal household pressure should sit somewhere between 40 and 60 pounds per square inch. If you see that number creeping up past 80, your pressure-reducing valve might be going bad, and that puts stress on every single fixture and connection in your home. If it is dropping gradually over several months, something is changing inside your system, and you want to find out what before it becomes an emergency. The point is, pressure does not lie. Learn to listen to it. The second lesson that took me years to truly appreciate is that the smell of a problem is just as important as the sight. Now, I know that sounds strange, but your nose is one of the most powerful diagnostic tools you own, and nobody online ever talks about it. When I walk into a house for the first time, I am smelling the air before I even pick up a wrench. A faint rotten egg smell near a bathroom usually means sewer gas is escaping, which tells me there is a dried out trap or a broken vent somewhere. A hot plastic smell near a water heater could mean a dip tube is deteriorating, or a fitting is overheating. A metallic or earthy smell from the tap water itself might point to corroding pipes or a change in the water source. These are things you cannot see on a camera. You cannot Google a smell. But once you train yourself to pay attention to what your nose is picking up, you start catching problems weeks or even months before they turn into visible damage. My advice is simple. Anytime you walk into your bathroom, your basement, or your utility room, take a breath and pay attention. If something smells off, it probably is. The third thing I have learned that they will never teach you online is that every house has a personality. I do not mean that in some mystical way. I mean it practically. Every home has its own quirks, its own history, and its own way of behaving. A 1950s ranch with galvanized steel pipes and a well water supply is a completely different animal than a 2005 build with PEX and municipal water. The older home might have low pressure because of decades of mineral scale inside the pipes. The newer one might have weird water hammer because somebody ran the PEX lines with too few support straps. Online tutorials treat every house like they are all the same. They give you one set of instructions and assume it will work everywhere. But the truth is, your home's age, pipe material, water chemistry, soil conditions, and even the climate you live in all affect how your plumbing behaves. Spend time getting to know your own system. Find out what your pipes are made of. Learn where your main shutoff is and whether it actually works. Figure out which fixtures share supply lines and drain lines. The better you know your home's personality, the faster you will spot when something is not acting right. By the way, if you're finding this advice helpful, you should know it's just a small sample of what I've put into my new guide, The Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It's packed with step-by-step instructions for hundreds of repairs that can save you thousands. To grab your copy, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let's continue. The fourth lesson on this list is that the most expensive repair is the one you rush. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen a homeowner, or even a younger plumber, try to speed through a repair and end up making it 10 times worse. Plumbing rewards patience. It punishes rushing. When you are in a hurry, you skip steps. You forget to dry a fitting before you solder it. You do not bother measuring the pipe twice before cutting. You over-tighten a compression nut and crack the ferrule. And every single one of those shortcuts leads to the same place, which is a callback, more water damage, and more money out of your pocket. The biggest lesson experience taught me is to slow down. Before you start any repair, take 5 minutes to think it through. What parts do I need? What is my sequence of steps? Where is the water shutoff? What is my backup plan if this does not go the way I expect? That 5 minutes of planning will save you hours of cleanup and hundreds of dollars every single time. The fifth thing I wish someone had told me early on is knowing when not to use Teflon tape. Now, this might surprise you because the internet makes it sound like Teflon tape is the answer to everything. Got a leak? Wrap it with Teflon tape. Connecting a fitting? Teflon tape. But here is what most people get wrong. Teflon tape is designed for tapered thread connections only. Those are called NPT threads, which stands for National Pipe Taper. It works by filling the tiny gaps between the male and female threads as they tighten and wedge together. But if you use it on a compression fitting, a flare fitting, or a flat washer connection, you are actually creating problems. On a compression fitting, the tape can prevent the ferrule from seating properly and cause a slow drip that drives you crazy. On a flare fitting, it can get bunched up and keep the flare from making a clean seal. And here is another mistake I see constantly. People wrap the tape in the wrong direction. You should always wrap it clockwise when you're looking at the end of the male threads. That way, when you thread the fitting on, the tape tightens into the threads instead of bunching up and peeling off. 3 wraps is usually plenty. More than that, and you risk cross-threading or cracking a plastic fitting. So remember, Teflon tape is a great tool, but only when it is the right tool for the job. The 6th lesson that experience drilled into me is that your shutoff valves need exercise. This is one of the most overlooked pieces of home maintenance, and it can absolutely save you in an emergency. Most homes have individual shutoff valves under every sink, behind every toilet, and near every appliance that uses water. The problem is, most people never touch them from the day they move in until the day something goes wrong. And by that point, the valve has been sitting in one position for 10 or 15 or even 20 years. The handle is frozen, the stem is corroded, and when you finally try to turn it in a panic because water is spraying everywhere, it either will not budge or it snaps off in your hand. The fix is simple. Once or twice a year, go around your house and turn every shutoff valve off and then back on. Just a gentle, full cycle. This keeps the internal parts from seizing up and lets you confirm that each valve actually stops the water flow. While you're at it, make sure you know where your main shutoff valve is and that it works too. In a real emergency, those few seconds of knowing exactly where to go and trusting that the valve will work can be the difference between a minor inconvenience and a flooded home. The seventh lesson I want to pass along is that gravity is the best plumber in the house. This sounds obvious, but you would be amazed how many plumbing problems come down to people fighting gravity instead of working with it. Your entire drain and waste system depends on one simple principle. Water flows downhill. Every drain pipe in your home needs to slope toward the sewer or a septic line at a specific grade. The standard is 1/4 inch of drop for every 1 foot of horizontal run. Too little slope and waste sits in the pipe, builds up, and clogs. Too much slope and the water outruns the solids, leaving them stranded in the pipe where they eventually cause blockages. This is why professional plumbers carry a level on almost every job. It is also why venting matters so much. Vent pipes let air into the drain system so gravity can pull the water down smoothly. Without proper venting, you get slow drains, gurgling sounds, and siphon traps that let sewer gas into your home. Whenever you're planning any drain work, think about gravity first. Where is the water going? Is there enough slope? Is there proper venting? Answer those questions before you glue a single fitting, and you will avoid 90% of the drainage problems I see every week. The eighth thing I have learned is that the fitting you leave dry will be the one that leaks. If you have ever soldered copper pipe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can do 9 perfect joints in a row. Every one of them cleaned, fluxed, heated evenly, and fed with just the right amount of solder. Beautiful work. But then on the 10th joint, you get a little confident. Maybe you skip the emery cloth because the pipe looks clean enough. Maybe you go light on the flux because you are almost out. Maybe you do not get the pipe fully dry before you start heating it. And I promise you, so that is the joint that will drip every single time. The lesson here goes way beyond soldering. It is about consistency. In plumbing, the quality of your work is only as good as your weakest connection, whether you are gluing CPVC, crimping PEX, or tightening a slip joint under a sink. Give every single fitting the same level of care and attention. No shortcuts, no assumptions. Treat every connection like it is the one that is going to be inside a finished wall where you will never see it again, because often enough, it is. The 9th lesson on this list is that code exists to protect you, not punish you. I hear this complaint all the time, especially from DIYers who just want to fix something in their own home without dealing with permits and inspections, and I understand the frustration. But after 30 years, I can tell you that plumbing codes are written in lessons learned from real failures. Every code requirement has a story behind it. The reason you need an air gap on a dishwasher drain is because without one, dirty water can backflow into your clean water supply. The reason you need a specific distance between a trap and its vent is because outside that range, the trap can get siphoned dry. The reason certain materials are not allowed in some areas is because they failed in those specific conditions. When you skip code, you are not just risking a fine. You are risking your family's health and safety. You are also risking your home's resale value. Because a good inspector will catch unpermitted or non-compliant work, and it can kill a sale or cost you thousands to bring up to standard. My advice is to look at code as your ally. Most local building departments are happy to answer questions. Many will even do a quick consultation before you start work. Use them. They are there to help. The 10th and final lesson I want to leave you with is that the right tool saves your back, not just your time. When I was younger, I thought I could muscle my way through anything. I would use a regular wrench instead of a basin wrench because I did not feel like walking back to the truck. I would lay flat on a concrete floor under a sink instead of grabbing a creeper pad. I would hand tighten things that deserved a proper torque, and my body paid for every single one of those shortcuts. Now that I am older, I can tell you that investing in the right tool for each specific job is not a luxury. It is a necessity. A basin wrench lets you reach those nuts behind the sink without contorting yourself into a pretzel. A good pair of channel lock pliers in the right size saves your wrist from absorbing all that force. A headlamp keeps both hands free so you're not holding a flashlight in your teeth. And something as simple as a foam kneeling pad can mean the difference between finishing a job feeling fine or barely being able to stand up the next morning. Your body is the most important tool you own. Protect it, buy the right tool, use it properly, and save your strength for the things that matter. And now for the bonus tip that professional plumbers swear by. Before you start any repair, take a picture. I mean it. Pull out your phone and take a photo of everything before you disconnect a single fitting. Take a picture of how the pipes are arranged under the sink. Take a picture of the valve positions before you remove anything. Take a picture of the label on your water heater or the model number on your faucet. You would not believe how many times I have seen someone take apart a garbage disposal or a shower valve and then have absolutely no idea how it goes back together. A photograph takes 2 seconds, and it gives you a perfect reference when you're standing there at the hardware store, trying to remember which fitting you need, or when you're on your knees, trying to remember which pipe connects where. It also comes in handy if you ever need to call a plumber for help, because you can show them exactly what you are working with, instead of trying to describe it from memory. 2 seconds, 1 photo. It will save you more headaches than you can imagine. Before you go, I want to make sure you know about my complete guide, the Ultimate Plumbing Playbook. It goes way deeper than we can in a single video, with 85 pages covering everything from clearing any clog to replacing your own water heater. If you want to stop wasting money on simple fixes, this book is for you. Just scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.